Welcome, everybody, to the Resistance broadcast. We are back, baby! That's right. A 1 week break. We apologize because we know you always count on us to be here because we usually are always here. I'm John. That's Lacey. And we're here to talk Star Wars. We got some news, some castings for Starfighter, misquotes from Ewan McGregor. It's like it's 2014 all over again. But we have a lot to talk about. But before we do any of that, ladies and gentlemen, if you're new to the podcast or not, just make sure you're subscribed to the Resistance broadcast on your favorite podcast app, whether that's Apple or Spotify, or watching us on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@TRB podcast, where you can find us on TRB and Nerdy and Nice, which is also returning this coming Monday. But also Nerdy and Nice is on its own audio app too. But we appreciate the listens, the love, and the support. And we'll get into more plugs later, I'm sure. But we have a great show. And proof that we are here so often. Lacey, this is unceremoniously the 750th episode of Just the Resistance broadcast.
That is wild. I don't think people understand what he's saying there. 750 episodes, not including K2S show, not including Mando fan show, not including Galactic Goonies or any special other episodes, just TRB.
Yeah. No Acco
Insane.
Night.
No Acco Night. So we're well above that. But for now, just TRB, which is obviously near and dear. TRB. Yeah, that's insane. You told me that and I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. And it's funny because we used to do 2 episodes a week. So we would fly up to these like benchmarks much quicker.
Oh, so quick. Yeah.
Now we're doing, like 50 or so episodes per year. But it's just like it's just because of the episode numbering. That's how we do our show notes. So it was TRB 750, and I'm just putting the notes together. I'm like, 750? Wait, that's kind of a big deal. We should probably mention it at least. So
yeah.
We will be doing special giveaways for our 800th episode. And of course, we're going to do some fun giveaways this fall. But no special giveaways for 750. It's just a proud moment for us for doing this for so long. I believe my first episode of TRB was episode 66, actually. So, and Lacey joined not too far after that. Yeah. So it's been a really long time, and
crazy,
in a lot of ways, with what's ahead with Star Wars, you're thinking about an upcoming trilogy and new movies and new TV shows. I feel like 1,000 is going to be here before we know it. But thank you to everybody who has been with us, whether you've been with us from the beginning or you're just joining us now. Thank you so much for being with us here at TRB.
Yeah, I really appreciate everybody that listens to the show. And anytime I hear someone be like, oh my gosh, I listen to you guys, or they leave a comment or a like or a review, I truly appreciate it. I do want to know what everyone's favorite episode is or moment in the comments. I always like reading those because people remind me of things that I said like years ago that I just don't remember, because it's just like John said, we're just doing this every week, that sometimes things get a little buried.
Yeah. And somehow we're able to come up with new and fun things to talk about each week. And a lot of that's thanks to you, because you always are a part of our show. So you're a part of this just as much as we are, and we thank you all so much, especially those of you who are always sending questions and comments, or Will of the Force on Patreon, whatever it is. You help make our show fresh and feel fun every week. So thank you. Lacey, I also wanted to give a quick shout out to the group at Rebel ScumCon who just crushed it this past weekend down there in Texas. Our good friend Spencer Jawitz from the Virtual Cantina Network was there, heavily involved. Our buddy Will of the Force hosted a panel with David Collins and Sam Witwer. I did a great job. So Will, awesome job. And I spoke with Spencer, and he's like, you guys got to get involved and get down here next year.
Next time. We'll be there. I already said to a couple people, I'm like, man, I got to go next year. It's just, it happened literally on my vacation.
I feel like we might have to make that our thing next year, because there's no celebration next year. We're not sure of any podcast travel plans yet for next year. Fingers crossed for some, hopefully. But yeah, I would love to get down there because it looked like a great time, and so many people showed up, and it looks like a lot of people had a great time, especially the people we know that were down there and involved. So great job to Rebel ScumCon. A lot of FOMO from the base here, but hopefully we'll see you next time around the suns, to be Star Warsy about it. All right, Lacey, you ready to dig into some news?
I am, because there is
Let's
a
go.
story in here that I was like, "What?"
It's the resistance.
Okay, the first story is something that you can hearken to grade school days of playing that game of telephone where you whisper something in someone's ear and you go around the whole room, and then by the time it gets to the last person, it's a completely different sentence. Uh, More rumors for Ewan McGregor's involvement in Star Wars. Diehard fans over the past 10 years or so will be very, very familiar with this because there was always rumors about him coming back as Obi-Wan, and eventually the Obi-Wan series happened, and we all felt finally relieved that we don't have to worry about rumors with Ewan McGregor anymore. Well, that's not true because at the Boston Fan Expo, is that what it was? Did I get that right?
Yes, it was Fan Expo Boston.
Fan
Yep.
Expo Boston, Ewan McGregor is talking about Star Wars, of course, and he was Lacey. He was actually talking about Ahsoka season 2, but from the perspective of a supportive husband,
Yeah.
as Mary Elizabeth Winstead, his wife, is known obviously for playing Hera in season 1. She's back for season 2, and somehow that got twisted, turned, and spun around as someone believing that he said he was appearing in Ahsoka season 2.
I don't know how
People,
they mistook this quote, I'm gonna be honest.
yeah,
Not
yeah.
really
Do you
sure.
do you have the quote up there? Do you want to read that?
I do. So he was asked, being a part of the franchise is one thing, but are you a fan of Star Wars? And he replied yes, and then said, what is your favorite installment that you're not a part of? And his answer said, well, I'm watching my wife, I really love Ahsoka, or I enjoyed Ahsoka. I thought that it was brilliantly done. So it's funny, like, she's shooting the second season now, and I know, is that a secret? And then he says, well, anyway, I just finished doing a play. So I'm at home with our son, who's 4, and I take him to school and everything. And then, I'm bumbling around the house and I'll fetch a FaceTime. I forget she's going to be green. So she pops up and I'm like, oh my God, yes. Oh, yes. She's often in her trailer without all the head stuff on, but she's still green. She's a very beautiful green lady. So I love that.
I don't know how anyone got that quote, but the funny thing about it is, and we talked about it on our last episode of TRB at the
Yeah.
top, just that
Yeah.
cautionary tale of when you see something and it looks legit online, dig a little deeper because this just harkens back to one blog that I don't think anybody really knows very
Some
well.
person in the audience or something.
Yeah, I'm not trying to throw
Yeah.
shade at anybody here, but then because it's an exciting idea and also one that we've talked about that we think is going to happen. So two things can happen here. He can not have said anything, which he did not, but we can also believe that he will be appearing in the show. You got to separate those two things can exist.
Yeah.
But it just those things always run wild, and all it takes is one post, or someone with a following or some sort of notoriety to repost something, and then a blog picks it up, and then a bigger blog picks it up, and then all of a sudden it's everywhere, and your coworker who knows you like Star Wars is like pinging you at work, and you're all busy, and you're like, what do you want? And they're like, did you hear that Ewan McGregor is in Ahsoka season 2? And you're like, wait a minute, where'd you get
Where did
this
you hear
from?
this? Yeah.
And then we're here to try to paint the truth on it, which is he did not say that. As Lacey just read the quote, he does not say anything at all about his involvement in it. But it's so funny because it all happened in one day. And Lacey, you were on vacation. I wasn't online that day, so I missed the he is, and I missed the retractions. It all happened in the same span of time, but that's pretty much it for this story. But I think you and I and we're doing a mini episode on the podcast about it next week on Patreon. If you're a
Mhm.
member of our Patreon, check that out. We do about like 15-minute mini episodes that are just on Patreon, but we both think he is going to be in Ahsoka season 2, right?
I do think he is, but, it's funny he mentions being home, which okay, before I get into this, I would just like to mention that Ewan McGregor was lying about being Obi-Wan for about 6 to 8 years. So,
Yeah.
the fact that people think he slipped up now, like, homeboy is the king of denial, denial, denial. Like,
Hmm.
there's no way he's gonna let something just, like, slip out or, like, just blatantly go off book. That's something that Disney or Lucasfilm would be like, "Why would you do that?" That
Yeah.
being said, We both think he's going to be there because another Comic-Con he had mentioned how he would love to put on the armor during one of his spotlight panels.
The Clone Wars armor, yeah.
Which I strongly believe that's because he saw pictures of him wearing it or concept art or whatever that, he is going to be in it. Plus, why wouldn't Disney want Hayden and Ewan to be together again? Like, that's marketing in itself.
Yeah.
The thing that part one is I don't think he said anything here.
No.
I don't think he said, I'm going to be in it, I'm not in it, whatever. But there is a little bit piece of this that I'm like, which is he is a parent of a small child who's 4. Now, if he is in Ahsoka, they could have had him do his shooting at a different time, especially if it's smaller scenes or a flashback or something, so that his wife could be with the kid, and then they switch, and then she goes to shoot the full season, and he goes home to be with the kid. So his parts are already done. That to me, I'm reading this, I'm like, he could have just gone at a separate time. That being said, in this instance of Fan Expo Boston, I don't think he said anything. I know there's a lot of drama with Ewan and Hayden this past weekend with not just this, but other stuff at Fan Expo Boston. A piece of it being that there was a fan that took a photo op with them saying that, like, she ships them being together. Like, she ships Hayden and Obi-Wan having a romantic relationship. Which people were going back and forth online of like, what is the boundary of doing that to these actors? Because that's basically saying like you think they get together at some point or like, have intimate relations, which is fine if that's what you do on your private time, but then shoving it in their face is not really appropriate. And Ewan McGregor has said that it's made him uncomfortable before. So there was a lot of back and forth over the weekend about this that I saw. Outside of just this quote of like, what is the proper boundary with these celebrities that go to these fan shows? And from working them before, there are a lot of instances of like, oh, like remember that they're human beings.
Oh yeah.
Uh, but yeah, no, overall, I don't think he gave anything away here. And if anything, I still strongly believe he's in the show. He's just not in the show right now. He probably already did his part.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also, I want to point out just my observation with Ewan McGregor. He's very good at being sort of like pretending he's aloof and like he's like, "Oh, am
He's
I allowed to?"
cheeky.
Yeah, he is very cheeky. He likes to play as though he's naive. He's like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm supposed to say that or not. That Ahsoka's filming." He's like, he knows that people know that Ahsoka's filming. Like so he's putting off this whole, I don't even know if I'm supposed to tell you it's filming, so that we think he's not so distant from everything
That he doesn't know
there's
every
no way
detail.
that he's in it. Yeah. So and
Like he wasn't holding the torch of the Kenobi series and movie for 8 years or 6 to 8 years. Like,
I see you, Ewan McGregor. I know your tricks, and I respect the charm. But another thing, Lacey, that's interesting is we know Ahsoka season 2 has moved from they filmed the first one the same way Mando did, Manhattan Beach, Los Angeles. The second one moved to the UK, specifically Longcross Studios. And I did a quick little Google search that Ewan McGregor resides in LA, between LA and St. John's Wood, London.
He's definitely in London right now.
The distance between Longcross Studios and St. John's Wood, London is only 29 miles. So
he's like, I'm FaceTiming her next to her.
yeah, he's there. I think he definitely did probably 1 day of shooting for a flashback scene. They're going to build off of that flashback that we saw the young Ahsoka actress with Hayden in the Clone Wars era through the World Between Worlds in Ahsoka's vision. They're going to add to that by introducing Obi-Wan into the mix. So you may get Anakin, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, maybe even Rex, some of the other clones, to really hit that fan nerve especially for the Clone Wars fans. And it was probably, like I
would
said,
love to see it.
one day
I'm
on
not even
set.
Clone Wars fan, and I would love to see that together. Like just to see them together. That's so fun.
Yeah, and it will probably be a really cool scene. You probably see them, both back to back with their lightsabers in the armor. Just seeing that realized in live action with these two that have played these characters for so long is going to be very cool. But like we said, he did not say that. Now, we still believe he is for all the reasons we laid out, and we've gone over many times. But nothing to report here from Ewan McGregor, being a good soldier, NDA style.
A big speculate responsibly reminder.
Yes. Yeah. So let us move on to our next story, which does feel like it is very confirmed, although the official studios have not spoken about it. But Lacey,
Mm-mm.
I know you called this one wild.
This is wild. The one thing I sent you over vacation was this story.
Yeah. So this is Shawn Levy's Ryan Gosling led Star Wars Starfighter movie, which is starting filming next month, is coming out May 28th, something like that, 2027, right around Star Wars Celebration. The new casting news, as we said recently, we're going to start getting all these casting announcements as they're getting closer to filming. We heard Mia Goth.
Yep.
Mikey Madison was up for that role, didn't work out. Mia Goth is landing a villain role. And we were like, oh, I wonder, is she going to be lead villain or not? And I believe you had said you don't think lead villain. And I was hoping she was because I want a female
No,
lead
I
villain.
said henchman.
Yeah. Now we
Yeah.
have what could be lead villain, or maybe a co-villain with Mia Goth, but Matt Smith lands villain role in new Lucasfilm pick starring Ryan Gosling, which is Star Wars Starfighter. Jeff Snyder added to this from his sources that he's being told the Force will not be with Matt Smith, who is playing some kind of military general in the film, which takes place 5 years after the Rise of Skywalker. Not connected to the Rise of Skywalker, at least what they're telling us. But Lacey, what do you make of this story? Do you feel it's a lock from where it's coming from source-wise with the trades? And what are your thoughts on it? And do you have any speculation about it?
Like I said, this story made me go, what? Because this story I thought was fake. I was like, this is totally fake. And then I realized who it was coming from. And I was like, oh, no, this is legit. Because you just see the headline.
Yeah.
I thought someone was making a joke because no offense to Matt Smith, but he's kind of been the joke with Star Wars for like ever.
Yeah.
Because he was going to be in Rise of Skywalker and then he wasn't. And then he was. And he admitted he was on Happy Sad Confused podcast. That guy gets everything. This story to me is just so out of left field because it's surprising to me that he circled back around. But at the same time, as we hear time and time again from not just actors and writers and directors, but like everybody that works on a Star Wars film, is that they grew up on Star Wars. They've always wanted to be a part of Star Wars. It's a goal for them to be a part of it. So they'll do whatever they can to be in it. And that's why we get these crazy cameos and whatnot. So I'm not surprised that he's playing a villain. He's a great villain. He's a great actor. So already you have Ryan Gosling in this movie and Mia Goth, and then you're going to tier it even further up, bring in Matt Smith. Like they're just bringing in really strong acting. That being said, the Jeff Snyder thing, I'm not saying he's wrong because I don't know. But to me, I don't know if I would bring in Matt Smith if all he's doing is being a general. And if I was Matt Smith, I wouldn't want to come in and only play a general. I would want to be someone that has the Force. Like we joked about how Ryan Gosling wouldn't come in if he never touches a lightsaber or never does anything like that. I just don't. I really want Matt Smith to be an alien. I really want an evil alien in this Starfighter movie.
Do you think he's lead villain?
I think he is, and that's why I'm kind of conflicted with what Jeff said. I think he is the main villain, and I think Mia Goth is the henchman, Kylo Ren, Shin Hati, like side anger person, the person that's just feuding on the side, but getting the job done. And honestly, that was one of the things that was really kind of cool about Kylo Ren in the beginning when I hated him was that he was just so evil when he stomped off the ship and he's, killing old men and like slaughtering villages and all this other stuff. I was like, oh, he's bad. And then Shin Hati also seemed like someone that I was like, oh, she's evil. She's stabbing Sabine and all this stuff. And then she kind of faded to not so bad. And then Kylo faded to redemption. Like, I just want someone to come in and be evil.
Yeah.
And I think Matt Smith has the capability of doing that. And he just has a face that like seems mean. Is that Is that a fair judgment? I just feel like he has a like maybe it's the picture they used for Deadline, but he has this kind of like brooding, like I'm about to
Yeah.
tear down the universe face.
Yeah.
Kind of like what's that guy's name? I feel like his last name's Harris. He's always a bad guy in like every 80s and 90s movie. What's his name?
Ed Harris?
Ed Harris. He plays a bad guy in like everything. And he was just in Top Gun Maverick playing like the bad guy. Every time I see him, he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna be like, Lacey, there's like 2 movies. And I'm gonna be like, that's 2 movies. But yeah, I think this is really cool. I'm really hyped that we're hearing about something in production and something's moving. I know you and I both long for Star Wars to be in the movies again. Like, I
Yeah.
want to be excited to go to the movies again. And I'm sorry, I'm not excited to see Superman in the movies. I'm not excited to see Marvel in the movies. I'm not, maybe K-pop Demon Hunters, which is coming out in a couple weeks. But besides that, like, I want to be like the lead up to going to the movies again for a Star Wars movie. We should have gotten like 2 Star Wars movies by now. It's kind of insane that we're at this point. So anytime I get some type of kind of check box of like, okay, it's moving, we're going. And I know Shawn Levy's not going to drop the ball with Ryan Gosling, and Ryan Gosling's not going to waste his time on a project that's not moving because he's a
Yeah.
busy guy. I'm just like feeling really good and positive about this project, especially with someone like Matt Smith.
Yeah, I think this movie's going to be one of those Star Wars movies that goes off without a hitch. I think it's going to go through a smooth production process for all the reasons you laid out.
Shawn Levy means business. Like, he really
Yeah.
does. I know the studio made jokes about him with the Kool-Aid Guy movie where they were like, we'll just get Shawn Levy if you don't want to do this.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. Yeah. Oh, in the studio. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Did you watch that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So good. So
Um,
good. But I
yeah,
laughed at that joke. They were like, if you can't do this, we'll get Shawn Levy. And I'm like,
yeah.
I love that.
Also,
They're
side note, Lacey, I saw they moved up Superman, by the way. That's hitting digital on Friday, tomorrow.
the 26th. I thought.
No, they moved it up. It's Friday.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I'm gonna
It's
have to
the
watch it at
15th.
home, guys.
Yeah. Just sit close to the screen. That's all.
Well, also Perfect Match is coming out on Friday, so I got to make priorities.
Oh,
You know.
yeah, perfect. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is a good news. I didn't love House of the Dragon, the Game of Thrones spinoff, but he was the best part of it. He was great in that. I mean, Millie Alcock was good too. She's going to be Supergirl, but he was a great villain. I'm all in on him being a villain. And this does bring back, we're talking about TRB 750. I mean, for a good year, I was on a good understanding that Matt Smith was not going to be in episode 9, no matter what was being said.
You were going so hard about. Remember, you were like, "That is such a lie. That is such a rumor." And then he went on that podcast, and you were like, "Oh, all right."
And I said he's not going to be in it. I'm telling you, he's not going to be in it because they did that pivot in like the 11th hour
They
where
did.
they were going to do this young clone version of Palpatine, which probably would have been really cool.
I thought it would have been really cool. I think I would have been more okay with it because then it shows the progression of Palpatine's plan. If it's a young Palpatine,
And it worked with Harry Potter. All the different variations of Tom Riddle and stuff were cool.
Voldemort, yeah.
Yeah, but they were probably thinking like, if you have one last shot, just bring in McDermott, and they did.
And you had said that, yeah.
And I loved seeing him. That's fine. It just makes you wonder. There are, unless they destroyed it, there have to be, because all the reports were that he did film stuff, and he did certain things. So
I
I'd love
wonder
to
how
just
many
see
movies
that.
like that we just never see
Oh
the
yeah,
coolest stuff that they shot. Because they have scenes with Kylo Ren talking because
Yep.
he doesn't talk on the last third of the movie.
Yeah.
And then we've talked about it before in that last scene with Rey, like you see his mouth moving.
Yeah. Unless he was practicing kissing, he was like,
I don't think so. I think he was talking.
he's like, I've never kissed before.
I just,
What do I do?
I would really, I wish, even if I was under a crazy NDA, just for my own sanity, I would love to know what was cut and what was the initial, like, what did they record? What did they film?
Yeah. My guess is that the clone that was going to be the main driver for Palpatine was going to be Matt Smith, like this younger, more vital, healthier body version of him.
Right. His plan proved to see through. Yeah.
Yeah, not the old decrepit, version that he needed.
Zombified.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It looked cool, but the good news is because that didn't happen, he has an opening now to come back, and here we go. So maybe we're talking about blessing in disguise. Maybe that would have been cool for Matt Smith to have been a young Sheevy Babes clone in episode 9. Because that doesn't happen, now we get to see Matt Smith be a villain in a brand new Star Wars movie that has no timeline it needs to live up to or match up to or fit into. It's exciting, and he is a very good actor. He is a very formidable villain. So, they have all the tools at their disposal. Shawn Levy has all the tools at his disposal right now in terms of talent, like you mentioned, Lacey. You got Gosling, you got Matt Smith, and Mia Goth, and that's a recipe for a fun Star Wars movie. And I know, probably within a week of recording this, we're going to hear another chip fall for an actor, because once you get the big ones coming out, like Matt Smith, if he's the lead villain, then the other smaller supporting
All into
members
place,
are going to
yeah.
start really trickling in through the trades and stuff. So I think in the next couple of weeks before this thing goes to film, we may get a full cast list. Who knows? But I think it's going to blow up pretty soon. But this is really cool. I'm excited to hear about it. And I agree with you about the general thing. I know Snyder is usually very accurate, especially with Star Wars stuff. Anytime I hear an actor's cast in Star Wars that I like, I'm like, nice, Sigourney Weaver, sick. It deflates me when I hear that someone that I like is in Star Wars and then they're, a general or a commander.
General Bobo.
Yeah, and it's not that I love those characters too. Like obviously Tarkin and Krennic, and those are great characters.
Mhm.
But I was hoping that Sigourney would have a more prominent role, maybe even a villain role or something. And the same thing with Matt Smith. Like typically, unless you're Thrawn, these military type of characters are not the big bad. So is he going to be sort of a mercenary or a servant of another villain that we're going to find out about? Maybe. But so I'm hoping he's not military. Also, what does that look like post Final Order, post First Order? Empire's obviously been gone way longer. Like, is there a new military 5 years later already? Like, I'm
Well,
not.
it'll probably be remnants like in Mandalorian, where there's just people just
Yeah,
like chilling.
Yeah, I guess. But I'm not.
That's why I want
feeling
an
that.
alien. I want some like a random, like they've been waiting
we gotta-
on the side type thing.
Especially when you finally, like, they're finally approaching the blank canvas, that coveted blank canvas where they don't have to fit their story into existing canon. Let's stretch out the room a little bit. Let's get beyond this whole bad military versus rebel type of thing. Like, you can do anything. You can make up anything. It is a fake galaxy that George Lucas handed you to play in. To me, it just sounds boring hearing that he's going to be playing some kind of military general. I don't know. That's just me. But either way, I'm really excited that he's in it. Like I said, he's a great actor. He can play a hell of a villain. He did a standout job in House of the Dragon doing such as one of the Targaryens. So I'm just excited about it and hope to learn more and hope to learn that he's not playing a general of some sort. Let's get wild, let's get weird, and let's get evil. And
Speaking of wild, can I throw out there an idea that like I feel would have made episode 9 better with Matt Smith is, and still included what you said, which is Ian McDiarmid, which I also agree is important. Legacy is important. I think if they started the film with him being zombified and then they put his spirit like mind into the younger guy, and then the younger guy took over for the rest of the movie and like fought Kylo and fought Rey, that to me would have been a better movie. Because then you still get the legacy of Ian. You still get the him on screen being all creepy and weird. But then it makes more sense to me that like why Kylo would be kind of afraid of him. Because he shows up on that like weird thing. And he's like grr, grr, and Kylo's like, oh no, whoa, watch out. And it's like, you could just literally walk away, guy. He's not gonna move. He's on a crane.
Yeah. He was
like
able
a claw
to
machine.
He was basically that.
Worst prize ever. Just like, no, send it back.
He was able to conjure up the fleet with his incomplete hands somehow, but I agree. I always have thoughts about episode 9, and I love episode 9.
I know
But
you do, and there are things I love about episode 9 too. Like we talked about how C-3PO is absolutely wonderful in that movie, and the whole TIE fighter scene with Rey jumping over it, insane, awesome.
yeah,
I'm just saying when things like this come out, where we're now finally getting Matt Smith, and then you and I were joking about Matt Smith for a year and a half. I feel like the story we got, every time I hear a little bit, I'm like, man, that would have been awesome. And of course, I'm coming from a space of like, I'm not in the creative process. I don't know what people are dealing with. I'm speaking years later. I just think that if it's about the legacy of Ian McDiarmid and keeping Palpatine in the story and going with the clone story, it would have been cooler to me and create more of a, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a level of urgency or risk or high stakes if he put his body into the clone, because then he succeeded to do what he was trying. And I feel
yeah.
like they tried to shove the Snoke clone thing in there. But if they went with a younger, like he succeeded on a younger, more attractive version of Palpatine, because Matt Smith's an attractive guy, like made him like more fit, then that's like more of an enemy to Rey and Kylo to fight than these random like guards or like this guy in a crane that's like, I'm gonna get you. Because that's how it
So
felt.
so what you're trying to tell me is you want your Sheevy sexy, is what you're saying.
Just younger. I don't know about sexy.
Oh, you said good looking, so I'm just throwing
He's a
that
good
out there.
looking guy. I will
All right,
always admit when someone's good looking.
all right, fair enough.
Everybody deserves a compliment.
Um,
But we can move on.
not a, yeah, yeah. So I always had thoughts about episode 9 and what that could have been. So, but we have what we have, and I enjoy what we have. But at least,
Sure.
like I said, it leaves us now an opportunity to get Matt Smith in a brand new character and do
Mhm.
have some fun with, stake his claim in the Star Wars universe as opposed to being in the shadow of Palpatine, being a version of that. So I'm sure he's excited to be officially involved now, and I look forward to hearing more about it. But last story, not too much to really dig into with it, but
Another
uh,
one that's really weird.
a long drawn out legal process has come to an end via what appears to be a settlement of some kind, where Gina Carano and the Walt Disney Company / Lucasfilm reached a settlement agreement on her lawsuit, possibly for her to work with the company once again in the future. So Lacey, I'm just going to toss this your way. Were you surprised by the resolution on this? And do you think she'll return to play Cara Dune again, or in Star Wars at all again? Or do you think this is more of a, maybe one day we can work together with Disney? Or like, where are you at with this whole thing?
Um, I see it as she brought about a First Amendment freedom of speech lawsuit to Disney Lucasfilm, backed by Elon Musk, who is the richest person in the world, who said he would bankroll this lawsuit until the end of time. Now, most lawsuits settle because it's either you settle or you keep going and going and going and going. And I think Disney just wanted this to go away. So I think they're settling it to just end it, to be like, stop doing this, because they don't want to keep paying lawyers and appeals and everything else. Because when you have someone on the other side that has unlimited money, for being honest, unlimited money, uh, it's just a mistake to keep going, and it's never going to end. That being said, do I think she's going to play Cara Dune ever again? No. And I know that there were some cast members of Mandalorian that were celebrating this news, but I don't think she's going to make that trip back.
Oh, did
Um,
they? Who did?
Brendan Wayne was celebrating it. So again,
Well, all
I
accounts
I have
are.
no I have no thought on it either way. She doesn't impact my life. She said some stuff that I don't agree with. It's her right to say it. You do you. Like I don't think people should be stopped from saying they want to say, but I'm a strong believer in that there are consequences for the things that you say. You could say whatever you want, but that doesn't mean your freedom allows you to not see any repercussions for those things.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think they're going to work with her just because of the way that, like, imagine working at a job and then you sue them and you're like, yeah, I want to keep working here. No, never. Anytime I've ever like considered any type of legal stuff with a company, anytime I've talked to a lawyer, they've been like, well, are you planning to leave the company? Because you're not going to go back to the company after this. But outside of Lucasfilm and Star Wars, she was in Deadpool. She was in Marvel projects. So
Yeah.
I could see them throwing her a bone in a Marvel project as some like no name side person, instead of back into Star Wars. But again, that's really up to Jon Favreau. If he wants her back and wants her back in the project again, he's going to have her come back. The only problem is, will she be able to work with other people on set? Because you know that Pedro Pascal is not going to agree with that. He openly disagreed with her online and openly like was constantly seemingly fighting with her about like, hey, you can't do this.
Yeah.
So I know he's not on set a lot, but you can't have your main guy be unhappy, especially the way that it's been going right now where Pedro's in everything. Yeah, I just see her getting some small role, but again, we don't know what the settlement was. Was the settlement that they have to give her a role? Is the
I don't
settlement
think
that they
so.
have to give her back to? I think it was just, hey, we'll throw some money at you to go
We'll
away
compensate you
for
for
your time and your legal fees, but like we leave the door open, but the door's not really open. That's my
Yeah.
thought.
I I was I had almost like forgotten about all this, and I've forgotten about Cara Dune and stuff like that. And that's the thing, like, it's not a situation where this happens and it's such a hit to the project because it's this immensely talented actor. Like, even when people liked
It still sucked because Rangers of the New Republic was her character was involved. So it's
yeah.
unfair to the fans that we lose out on a character because of other things. Because that
Yeah.
affected Carson Teva, who we adore here, and Paul deserves all the success that we want to see. And we wanted to see more of Bill Burr's character, and that got squashed because of this stuff.
Yeah, but I also feel like with everything that's been happening with streaming and Disney Plus,
Mm.
that something might have happened to that series anyway.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah.
But I guess what I'm getting at, it's not like Gina Carano is Meryl Streep and she's just like lifts every project she's in or something like that. Like, they liked working with her. It seemed like by all accounts that all of her castmates enjoyed working with her. Her directors liked her. She worked hard, and that's fine. But she dug herself a hole, and she, like a typical fighter, which she is, you know,
Mhm.
her original profession was MMA. She dug her heels in and dug even deeper, and that stubbornness came through, and then it blew up. So I mean, it's nice to see that there's a resolution to this, at least for all parties. But I agree.
Mhm.
I don't think we're going to see Cara Dune back. I didn't really miss the character, and by the time I'm watching season 3, I had forgotten about Cara Dune. I believe they mentioned her briefly in the beginning of the first episode or something like
She's
that.
off on a mission or something,
Yeah,
I
she's
think.
off on a mission somewhere, and that's, whatever. So it's not like this whole thing like, oh my God, we got to get her back because the story is just completely unraveled without Cara Dune. It's like, no, they easily move on, and they did. So yeah, I do think it's one of those things where maybe they do work together, maybe they don't in the future. But to me, this is a straight up settlement. And when you have, like you said, the guy backing your lawsuit who can buy Disney, like literally buy the company Disney
Multiple
twice
times,
and
yeah.
still have $40 billion, you got to try to get rid of this as quick as possible. And looks like Disney's like, we had enough. Like, take what you want and just we'll put out a nice PR statement, and then everyone could be quote unquote happy, and we'll all move on. So that's what
That
I
was
think is happening here.
probably part of
Yeah,
the settlement was the
yeah,
statement. Yeah.
yeah. So I think that's pretty much all there is to that. Not much more to speak to it. Will we see Cara Dune again? I doubt it. But will we see Gina Carano in another Disney project one day? Possibly. Who knows? But that's it for the Resistance Report. But before we get into our next segment, Will of the Force, which we all know you love, it's time to throw to an awesome opportunity from one of our sponsors. Star Wars fans, this is your moment! Ever dream of owning the actual lightsaber Darth Vader used to duel Luke Skywalker in The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi? Well, stop dreaming and start bidding, because the only verified Hero Vader dueling lightsaber is hitting the auction block.
It's all part of Prop Store's Entertainment Memorabilia live auction happening September 4th through the 6th in Los Angeles, California. This $10 million event features over 1,000 legendary film props and costumes, from Indiana Jones' whip from The Last Crusade to the Neuralizer from Men in Black, Harry Potter's hero wand, Captain America's shield, and so much more.
Registration is open and the full catalog is now live, so head to propstore.com where the treasures await.
From the Death Star to Hogwarts to the Temple of Doom, movie history is up for auction.
Propstore.com, and may the bids be with you.
I fear nothing, for all is as the Force wills it.
Time for Will of the Force. You guys love this segment. I love this segment. I know John does too.
Oh, yeah.
So we talked about a little bit at the top, 750 episodes of TRB, insane. And we wouldn't be here without you guys. There are lots of ways you can support us. You can like this video, subscribe on YouTube. Hi, how are you? I'm waving at the camera. You can follow us on audio platforms like Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Leaving a review for us lets us know how we're doing. And then it lets people find us, because once you give us a rating, it goes into the algorithm, et cetera, et cetera. You can follow us on social media at TRB Podcast on all platforms. But if you want to be more than that, if you want to get really involved here, you can head over to patreon.com/TRB podcast. Starting at just $5 a month, you support this podcast, Nerdy and Nice, and everything that we do, from traveling to giveaways to equipment upgrades and much, much more. And as you go up in tiers, you get more perks like merchandise, special opportunities to hang out with us on live streams, Discord, where you get to meet other people in the community, which we're so proud when we hear people have made friends and gone on trips
Oh, it's so cool.
and wonderful things with each other, and met friends, because that's what's important at the end of the day, is just meeting other people and creating such a dynamic community that we can all be a part of. But another perk is you get to be a part of the show, and this is one of those opportunities. So Will of the Force is a segment where we have either John or myself or you guys pitch will they, won't they situations. So coming up first is Commander Joey Sack, and it is a Patreon submission, of course, and he asks, will there be any acknowledgement of Greef Karga in The Mandalorian and Grogu? I've said a couple times that having a statue of him on Navarro, where the IG-11 statue used to be, would be a great way to honor both the character and the late, great Carl Weathers. John, do you think they will acknowledge Greef Karga?
Oh, 100%. Carl Weathers meant so much to The Mandalorian, not only because of his character. He was involved in directing the show. He was always there promoting it. He was at all the conventions. He was so excited to be a part of it, and the fans loved him. I mean, I've loved that guy since watching the Rocky movies when I was a kid. So I think he'll absolutely be mentioned. And they'll probably even go a step further and say he put something in place to help the Mandalorian so that his character can contribute to the story of this big movie in a way that will honor Carl Weathers and also his character. So I think that's an absolute lock. The statue, I don't know, that might be a little too close to home because Rocky has a statue. Now you're going to give Apollo a statue. I don't know, but I think absolutely. What do you think?
I agree. I think they definitely will talk about him in some way. You can't go from the series to the movie and not mention him, especially in the last season when he played such a big role with the city township of Navarro. I think, like you said, they're going to go even further in the real life acknowledgement and put a dedication to him at the end of the film. I could see them totally saying this is dedicated to Carl Weathers, because he just did amazing things for The Mandalorian and for Star Wars and just in pop culture in general, that it's really sad to think of this movie without him in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the statue idea, Joey, is a good idea. I just don't think they're going to do it.
It is a good idea. I agree.
The next option or questione is, if Sabine becomes a Jedi, will she create a new Darksaber with the help of Hu Yang? John.
I think so.
Really?
Yeah, only because the Darksaber is such a cool weapon. It's so unique. Um, it got destroyed Mando season 3. I forgot that it got destroyed Mando season 3. There's an episode where I have egg on my face of the podcast where I'm like, oh yeah, oh my god, that's right. It might even have been a live episode, but anyway, 750 episodes. There's gonna be plenty of mistakes, but yeah, I just think with the way they're approaching Sabine now, it's just I know it caught everybody off guard where it's like she's training to become a Jedi now, and it's more so that all you have to do is work at it and really study, and then you can become a Jedi. And she's still full on Mandalorian as well. So Tar Vizsla, who made the Darksaber, was the first Mandalorian Jedi. If they're planning on Sabine becoming a Jedi Mandalorian and the Darksaber happened to just get destroyed in Mandalorian Season 3, it stands to reason to assume, and you have Hu Yang here, who's building these. He has a workshop where he's putting lightsabers together. It just makes sense to me that they're going to create the new second version of the Darksaber, and Sabine's going to be the one to be able to do it because she's a Mandalorian and a Jedi. So if she does become a Jedi, I think we can lock it in that we're getting Darksaber Part Dos.
Mhm. I remember discussing if Sabine was going to be a Jedi, if she was force sensitive. And I remember strongly saying she is definitely going to be force sensitive. I think James was the one that was like, no way, no way, no way. That ruins her story. No way. And then it happened. And I was like, ooh. Ooh. But we've all been there, like you said. I think she will not create a Darksaber. I don't think they're going to do that. I think it gets too confusing. I think the Darksaber is the Darksaber. I don't think there's a reason to make a new one. I see her making a new lightsaber, but not a specific Darksaber.
All right, fair enough.
Next up is from Commander Chris. Chris, where's my Han Solo, man? How's it going? Great question. He asks, will Matt Smith play a younger clone Palpatine in Starfighter? Oh, ... I know you both will love this question. And then he put a laughing emoji face. You know, I don't love this question, Chris. No, I don't think he will play a younger cloned Palpatine. I can't believe I even have to say that. But you did hear my thoughts earlier that if it happened in episode 9, that would be a different scenario. But no, not here. John?
I would love to see this just to see people's heads explode. That Palpatine has once again returned.
I would be the person. Me as people.
That would be amazing. But then after that initial moment of joy, seeing the suffering of the Palpatine haters, I would probably be like, "Oh no, what are we doing?" So,
what
is
happening?
it worth it? Was it worth it? No, probably not.
Could you imagine you get that the trailer for Starfighter, and at the end is that Palpatine cackle again? You're like, no.
But it's a younger version, so it's like a healthier, like. You're like, oh, okay. So Chris, I wanted to get your question in here just because you know, it's been this long running bit on the podcast about him. So thanks for that. But yeah, no, obviously not. And hopefully also not playing a military general or something. But yeah.
All right. Last, will they, won't they? Will we ever see the Stranger, aka Chimere, and Osha in live action Star Wars again? I will start. I think there is a strong opportunity to see the Stranger, aka Chimere, again. I do not think we'll see Osha again. I think Osha's donezo. Our buddy Ash was interviewing Manny for Freakier Friday and asked him about the Stranger and what it meant to him to see fans at Disneyland talking about Acolyte. And he says everywhere he goes, he hears, "Oh, I want the Acolyte. I wish we got more Acolyte, blah, blah, blah." I want that for him. I thought that villain was amazing. I thought it was the best part of the Acolyte. Episode 5 of the Acolyte is epic.
Yeah, it was.
But I just don't think we'll get more Osha for multiple reasons. I don't think they got the reception they wanted for that character, so I don't think that's going to happen. I also don't know if Amanda would do it again, to be honest. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I don't think we're... I just have this bad feeling we're not going to see either one of them again.
That makes me
I
so
think
sad.
I
That
think
makes me
what they're
so
gonna
sad.
I think what they're gonna do now is they're gonna hand over the continuation to like Charles Soule and do a
Ugh,
comic,
such a
and
cop out. Not that
it's
comics and books don't matter. I'm saying
yeah,
in
and
the
it's not
sense of
it's
like,
nothing against Charles Soule, but yeah, you want to see the actors who you enjoyed, playing their role, but we're gonna see that story probably in comics, showing how Plagueis kills Chimere or kills Osha. Obviously, we know it doesn't end well for either of them. So even if you were hoping for this longer, second season or the romance to happen, we know where this ends. It doesn't end well. So
it does
because
not.
it always ultimately is going to finish with Plagueis Palpatine. So I think we're going to get a comic showing the completion of Chimere's story and Osha. I don't know what
Mhm.
Chimere's ultimate plans were with Osha or not, but maybe to usurp his master. I don't know. And then I hope we do get live action Plagueis Palpatine stuff because I think that'd be really cool. So I just, as much as I would love to see Chimere, because I agree, The Knight was an amazing episode of The Acolyte, and if I had to pick one episode to show people without them seeing the rest, I mean, like, check this out, I would show them that episode every time. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I just don't think we're gonna see him again, unfortunately.
Which is really unfortunate. But to bring things back up again, we're now going to head into our other question segment, Ask the Resistance, to hear from everybody else and hopefully get us out of this slump of never seeing Stranger again.
I've been wondering, what are midichlorians?
All right, it is time for Ask the Resistance. So we put a call out for questions.
Come on. You've got Star Wars questions.
Oh, stop!
We have Star Wars answers.
Do you want to run it? You can run it.
No.
You
I
want me
just
to
want
do
you
it?
to say it.
No, I'm never gonna say it ever.
Come on.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So we put out a call. That's your thing. That's your catchphrase. That's your pull string on the back of the Gillerin doll, among others. But yeah, we put out posts for questions, and then, but also at any time if you want to post on Blue Sky or Twitter or just send them directly to us. But if you use hashtag Ask the Resistance, we'll find them and we'll talk about them on the show. So we have 3 to get into here. Let's get after the first one, who was sent via Twitter. I am Anakin's father at John Lynn 5,000,000,50392. So thank you, John.
Way to get your
Lynn, for
handle,
that.
John.
Yeah, you were just edged out by the other 5,503,092 John Lynns, but you are
91.
here. You're number one. Yeah, you're number one here out of the John Lynns on TRB. So thank you. And you're also Anakin's father, so that answers that question. So there's one question answered right out of the gate. But his question is, since Grogu can live to over 800 years, do you think that in the future we will get stories of him being the leader of a rebuilt Mandalore? He is Mandalorian now, after all. I'll start with this one, and I will say I do not think so. I think there are big plans for Grogu to be a part of the future storytelling of Star Wars, including the movies we're talking about that happened after Episode 9. I just don't see a character like him who involves a lot of puppetry, a lot of CG and stuff, to be tasked with being so anchored down to being the leader of a new Mandalore. I just don't see that in the cards for Grogu. I think he has to have his wings spread pretty wide. So I don't think that's going to happen. I totally get why you're asking that question. And it would be really cool to see him in a little helmet sort of on the top of a mountain with like armies behind him. Like, yeah, I'm the leader of Mandalore. But I just can't see that happening. I don't know. Lacey, what do you think?
Not to be lame, first of all, hello, John. Thank you for your question. I do agree with you that they're not going to box Grogu into staying on one planet. He's traveling the galaxy. He's doing all these amazing things. I can't see them being like, oh yeah, this entire period he was on Mandalore. Because he is Mandalorian, but he's also not. So I'm gonna say no, that's my easy answer.
All right. Moving on to our next one. This is from Star Wars Steve 77 at Star Wars Steve on Blue Sky. Hey, Steve. Steve is always reposting our episodes. Appreciate
Hi,
that. Thank you
Steve.
so much for doing that, buddy. Thanks for the support, and thanks for always listening and the kind words. His question is, hello there, TRB. Now that the Carano versus Disney lawsuit is finally over, do you think Rangers of the New Republic might be resurrected from development hell? Lacey, we touched on this earlier, so I'll just let you take it. What are your thoughts? Do you think that series will come back?
Thanks for your question, Steve, and support. We really appreciate it. I am going to be honest right now. I totally forgot that this lawsuit was even happening until this came out. I was like, oh, right. She did sue them over this. That being said, I don't think anything's happening with Rangers. I think that's done. I think it ended when that all first started happening, but also a combo of what you said, John, where like they were shifting priorities. I think that they've just kind of taken pieces of that series and moved them in other directions with Ahsoka or with the Mandalorian and Grogu movie or Mandalorian season 3 with Carson Teva kind of taking on the role of like the guy that's their check-in guy for the New Republic. So,
Yeah.
which is now getting handed off to Sigourney Weaver, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, no, which makes me sad because I was super pumped for this project. I just don't think it's happening. I want to see more Bill Burr in Star Wars.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see if they work him back in somewhere. He could easily show up in the Mandalorian and Grogu, so
He
that's
could.
possible. Yeah,
As like, hey, I got a guy or something. I don't know.
yeah. He lives in LA now. They were shooting in LA. Favreau got him involved in the show anyway, so maybe he's like, "I want you to be in this movie," and he's like,
Yeah.
"All right, Venmo me," and he did.
Venmo me.
Imagine that's how actors get paid. They just get Venmos.
Venmo.
Yeah. And they put little reason. It's like the little film thing. But yeah, quick answer from me. I think that show is probably on the scrap heap at this point. But yeah. But I appreciate the question. Yeah, thank you, Steve. Last question here. This is from our buddy Andrew Staley, and he submitted this one on Patreon. So thank you, Andrew, for that. Hope you're doing well, man. I saw you were at one of the recent races in Chicago, was it? But hope you're doing well. Miss you, and look forward to seeing you again at future Star Wars events. But Andrew asked, do you think the main theme for The Mandalorian and Grogu will be the same as in the show, or will there be a larger, more theatrical version of that musical theme? Lacey, what are your thoughts on this?
Hi, Andrew. Hope you're doing well. Miss you, bud. I think this is a great question because I didn't even consider it before this question was asked. I think that they're going to kick it off with the original version and then build it into a more cinematic version. I could totally see them doing that, making it larger than life with like, the strings come in and all this like big momentous stuff. And they'll also make new themes and scores for the movie itself. But yeah, I think they totally will do this.
Ooh, interesting. I feel like with this whole Western approach that Favreau's going with Mandalorian, I think he likes the consistency and simplicity of it. So I'm going to say no. I'm going to say,
Wow.
I think Ludwig, has he been confirmed he's coming back or no? Like we just think he is?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, though.
I think he will create new themes. I agree with you there. I think there will be a new track that's a takeaway for this movie that takes something to the new heights. I actually feel like that Grogu theme that he has is the one that he may build upon more. I just feel like that Mandalorian theme is such a concrete staple in all of our brains. Yeah, that I wonder that they want to keep that as this foundational theme and not screw around with it too much. Now, as any movie does, Star Wars, John Williams, of course, you take themes and you like sort of bop them in and out and you sample from them and stuff like that. But in terms of taking the track and making some bigger orchestral version of it, I just have this feeling Favreau's going to want him to keep the theme itself what it is. So it's this steady presence, and then make the other things big. That's just my take, but I would love to hear it. If he does it, it's going to, because it'll be amazing. So I'm good either way. I just have this feeling Favreau wants to keep the theme. But We'll see. That's a great question, though, Andrew. You kind of have me wondering, and I love that because I never thought of it. And that's the beauty of these questions you guys all submit, and sort of what we were saying at the top. You help us make this show amazing. So thank you, Andrew. Thank you, everybody, for your questions, whether you're submitting them on Patreon and Will of the Force, you're submitting them on social media to us for Ask the Resistance. However, you're a part of the Resistance, and we mean that. So thank you all so much. And with that said, that brings us to the end of the show. So thank you all so much for listening, watching, being in the base, and having fun talking Star Wars with us. It means a great deal to us. I have to give a special shout out to the Generals and Spice Runners on Patreon. The Generals are Carmelo, John Reese, General Beard, Jetta Rosewater, Frank Grande, Chris Morales, Mike Ramori, Brendan McLaughlin, Sneaky Zebra, Dave Hornack, Colin Cormier, Stephen Garrow, Sachi, and Darth Snips. And the Spice Runners, David Probus, Neil Shaw, Kendall Gunner, Andrew Staley, Jeremy Myers, the Fort Worthian, and Brian Smith. Thank you all so much. However you support TRB, it means a great deal. And don't forget, coming up, as summer winds down, we're going to have some new TRB merch coming to trbpodcast.com. You can always just check out the site anyway, because you can always get the podcast there too, right at the bottom. It's a one-stop shop to check out TRB stuff. And as Lacey said before, our Patreon, however you can support us, thank you all so much. Lacey, where can people hit you up about all these wonderful answers you gave on these questions and all these stories we talked about and all this Star Wars that's going on?
Thank you, John. People can find me on social media at Lacey Gillerin, and on TikTok at It's Lacey Gillerin, and of course on the social channels for TRB. We're nerdy and nice.
And you could find me at Johnny Hoey on Blue Sky and Twitter to talk about this.
Are you voguing?
And the drowning. I'm doing whatever you were doing.
This.
Oh.
Too close. You're too close.
Am I drowning New York Yankees who are
Oof.
sinking faster than the Titanic?
As we get into postseason.
Yeah, well, if they make the postseason right now, if the postseason started today, the Yankees would not be in the postseason. So
Oof. What's going on with them?
a lot of injuries, a lot of just sloppy, gross play. Their manager sucks, and he needs to get fired. Hopefully, maybe they should hire Matt Smith. Maybe he can manage the Yankees. We'll see.
Maybe.
Or Ian McDermott, whoever. But that's it. That's it. Thank you all so much. I am actually leaving for vacation today, but we will have Nerdy Nights for you Monday and back on track. So the breaks are over, but that is it. Lacey, any final
Which
thoughts
even
before we
then,
get out
the
of here?
break, we still had an episode of
One or the other. Yeah.
Nerdy and Nice, and then the week.
Our breaks are
this week,
very,
yeah.
very non-break like.
Not breaking.
Yeah.
But
What? Yeah.
What? Yeah.
I don't know if you had anything you wanted to toss out there before we get out of here.
No, you guys are awesome. Really appreciate it. Again, we wouldn't be doing this or have gotten to 750 plus. Remember, because we're not counting any of those shows.
No,
like
we're well over
Mando.
800.
Yeah. Without you guys. And every day when you send us messages and emails and comments and everything, like we read them, we appreciate it. It means a lot. Thank you.
Here's to the next 750. But before we get ahead of ourselves, we hope everyone has a great weekend. We hope that your summers are still going well. And we'll see you next time right here on the Resistance Broadcast. See you around, kids.